Okay, now it's live. Hello, everybody. We are the Late Night Enforcers. How are you today? It's a nice, crisp evening. I have my windows open. I'm sitting very close to a window, so if you start to hear coyotes howling because I'm out in the boonies, just don't worry for my safety. It's okay. I got my sick Deathstroke hat in it, and it'll keep me safe. It'll keep me safe because it'll scare them away because it's ugly. But I don't care. It's sexy. I don't. What am I talking about? I don't know. We are the Late Night Enforcers. My name is Ian, and as always with me is Ryan. And tonight we've got a treat for you. Oh boy, have we got a treat for you. We're going to talk about Destiny.
I love that face you get every single time we talk about this topic.
I can't fucking stand it. So that's my intro. Ryan, I'm gonna pass it to you.
Yeah. What's up, everybody? Ryan, Sleek Stealthy 85, all that fun stuff. Lately, if you've been following me on Twitch or on YouTube, I've gotten a whole lot of my videos finally uploaded. I still have to do episode 2 to get part of the actual story content involved. I'm nearing the end of the end game content that's currently available in the Taken King release. So if you watch the giant live argument that got really mean at one point, then you know that we're going to be doing this review. But before we get into it, really, I want to pop off and say I want to apologize to anybody that watched on that afterwards or live. I got real mean and kind of attacked one of our viewers at the time, and that's not what we're about. That's not what I do. My bad. I apologize. Please, if you ever watch anything live like that, call me out if that stuff ever happens. But, I just want to throw that apology out there because it's not what we're about, and she's a really good friend of ours. So, steady as Cynthia, I'm sorry. And Ian, I know you've watched a lot of my streams lately, even if it's over in the background. Have you had any, from what you've seen, what do you think so far?
So one of the main things that I want to point out to anyone who hasn't played Destiny but has been playing or had played Borderlands, apparently a lot of the guns now look like they're from Borderlands. I'm not sure exactly what gun you have that has Hawk written across the side of it.
Hawkmoon?
Yeah, it looks identical to a gun straight out of Borderlands. I shit you not. I looked over and I was like, when did he start playing Borderlands? It's like, oh no, that's Destiny. That gun looks just like it. I'm telling you, man. I'm not lying to you. It's like the weird multicolored shit all over it and the name written on it where you can see it. That straight was a Gearbox.
Yeah, that's interesting. They probably just said, "Hey, that looks cool. Let's do it." Because Hawkmoon was a PlayStation 4 exclusive from year 1 that they transferred into year 2, because anything that is an exclusivity item for PlayStation becomes available for Xbox users the following year. Mm-hmm. So we got 2 or 3 extra strikes, probably 2 or 3 guns. The first gun I got was Monte Carlo. It was a year 1 version. I was not happy about because it was worthless to me at that point. But if you get any year 1 exotics, will unlock a year 2 blueprint if some of them have transferred, because they didn't take all of the year 1 exotics and keep them, but they did keep some of them with some modified perks and some re-rolls and things like that.
Hang on a second. I got to interrupt you. So what you're telling me is that Xbox finally gets the exclusive guns that the PlayStation had from year 1, but they're still year 1 versions of the guns, so therefore they're pretty much shit in year 2?
It varies on the engram roll. One of the guys who was rolling with me on the stream, Reiner Caleb, he actually got a year 2 version of Hawkmoon off of that engram. So the goal for the engram, I believe, was to get you one of the PlayStation 4 exclusive guns, but the roll is based on random number. So
yet again, another fucking bullshit thing where it should have guaranteed at least a year 2 version of that gun.
Not necessarily. If the year 2 is technically behind the paywall, then you should technically keep it at year 1. If anything, you shouldn't even give people a chance for year 2 unless they get the year 1, unlock the year 2 blueprint, and then just buy it with the legendary marks.
Or feed guns into that gun so that it becomes better than the year 2, I guess. That's something that I've heard you do now.
Yeah, with any year 2 weapons, that's so, and I really need to do a couple of videos on walkthroughs on that for anybody who's been thinking about it. But for anybody, for gear, for guns, ghosts, shells, capes, class items, all of that stuff factors into your light level now. I have on my YouTube channel probably about a 45 to a minute and a half explanation of how the light level is working now. You can take a year 2 piece of gear, and then if you get an engram and you decrypt it, that say you have a legendary piece of gear at 200 defense, chest piece. You decrypt a chest piece that's blue, one of the rare items that is 215. Instead of just swapping it because maybe you like the perks on the one you have, or maybe you like wearing all Dead Orbit gear like I do. That's all I wear is all the Dead Orbit gear. And you want to beef up your light level, you infuse the stronger piece of gear into the one that you're wearing to beef up the one that you're wearing into that stat level. So you can, but that's the way that you build it. And so instead of just constantly getting new gear and shaders and saying, well, I kind of like the way this looks, you can keep a specific armor set that you like that works for your gameplay with all the averages of your attack defense for your intellect, strength, and discipline for your grenades, your melee power, and your super. And you can have everything meshed together to become, as if you were talking to the Bungie guys, they would say, to become a better Guardian. But really, just in order to be an effective player in the world, you can mesh all that stuff together and beef up the light level accordingly.
Now, speaking of wearing all Dead Orbit stuff, I did notice at some point when you were dancing the other night that your Dead Orbit armor actually makes you look like the police officers from The Fifth Element, where you got that big circle on your chest that has the emblem on there. It's like their little light bulb.
They have that emblem all over that armor. It's giant on the chest. It's on the back thigh. I think there's one on the shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
It's everywhere on the armor itself. And you can't really tell, like if I take the shader off, it's mostly white, a little bit of black. If I throw a couple of different shaders on there that are maybe red and black or red and white or, I don't know, yellow, purple, it doesn't matter, something that has brighter colors, the emblem pops out, and that's how you notice it.
Speaking of shaders, did you ever get that bullshit figured out with Bungie where you got that pre-order one and for some reason it didn't work?
Yeah, I had to uninstall and reinstall the pre-order bonus, that 9.5 megabyte package. They've been having glitches with that since the launch. And it's random on who it affects and when, but all you got to do is uninstall and reinstall and it'll fix. So it was very, very weird because all of a sudden one day, one of the shaders that I get that I never wear, I don't like the way it looks, but I mean, I was kind of not happy about the fact that I paid for it. I didn't pay any extra for it. It just came with it. I didn't pay $5 additional for a shader.
Yeah.
But, it was one of those things where I was like, well, what the hell? This is content that I was supposed to get. But all in all, and I know that you and I have always been polar opposites on this game, at least for the last 6 months. When I play through this game now with the content that has been released, I honestly think that this version of Destiny is what they should have released last year.
Go on, I'm sorry. I was going to say something, but then I was like, no, it sounds like he's got something else to say. Oh, hold up.
I think that if you look at the totality of content that is available, because I'm about to start a Titan, just to be able to get the third, because the only way you get each ability sword, Void, Arc, and Solar, is by having a different character that picks a different one. And I want all 3 exotic engrams or exotic swords, which is going to be the grind of grinds to get. And I hate it, but I want it. So I'm going to do a Titan. Yeah. Well, I'm going to do it. Well, I also want the Titan because of the hammer throw. Because that thing just wrecks. It destroys lives, and it's awesome to see. So I'm going to go play with that for a little bit. But I'm going to be able to play through Mission 1. I'm a brand new Guardian to the end of Oryx. And I think from everything I've played, that's a game. And I know what they're trying to build here, but I definitely think that this is where they should have started. They should have started here, where they are now, and built off of that. And there's still things that they don't have right. Like the fact that my subclasses, for me to change, I have to go into my menu to change them. I can't map them to my D-pad instead. That would be extremely effective in the middle of a raid, which if you've watched me do this current raid last night, I almost shattered my controller. Almost rage quit.
I must have missed that because I think so last night, just real quick flesh out, and this is going to make me sound like I'm a little drama queen pussy bitch motherfucker. Last night was my usual night to stream. So we're recording this on Thursday night. I usually stream on Wednesdays. And I've been holding back from playing the one spooky game, Slender the Arrival, that I've got, because here we are. It's October, 1st? I don't have any other spooky games, and Halloween's right around the corner. So I figured, let me stop, take a belch, and hold back on that game and just wait, because the closer we get to Halloween, I need a spooky game to play. And this game, Slender the Arrival, is stressful and is scaring the shit out of me, so I want to hold off on it.
On your first couple of playthroughs, I was like, ooh, this is gonna be good.
Yeah, no, and I've gotten shit because I've stopped playing that to play Metal Gear.
I've heard.
And yeah, I'm surprised. Yeah, no, I'm not surprised, actually, is what I'm saying. So last night I did a stream of Metal Gear, and I had you pop in for a second just to advise me that you retweeted out my link, which I appreciate. That was it. You were the only viewer for the entire time. So after, I think it was about an hour, which I usually go for 2 hours or so, I went ahead and shut it off so that I could open it up so that, since we're a team, I didn't want to be streaming when you're streaming, and you don't try to stream when I'm streaming. So I wanted to back off and allow you to open up your stream to do the raid stuff, since nobody was fucking watching me. Of course, then again, I think I was your only watcher during your raid, but
we had Patrick McHugh, Fungosity, showed up for a little while. He didn't stay too long, I guess probably 30-40 minutes. When we got to it's not, I mean, I guess it's the first major checkpoint, because the spoiler alert, if you haven't watched any raid videos for Destiny on Xbox, on YouTube, then you're probably just going to not know what you're going to do with your life when you jump into this thing, if you're going to try and play it blind. In order to even get into Oryx's dimension, you have to go into the Court of Oryx, take 2 relics, slam them into one spot, and you have to do this 6 times. So you take the 2 that are right there, slam them at the same time, go out and get 2 more, come back, go out and get 2 more, come back. You do that 6 times. Then you finally kill a bunch of stuff, you get into the portal. And now comes the part where they went, Vault of Glass meets the Hive. That's really what they did. You jump across some lanterns. We went and found one chest. And then comes the fun part where you jump on the moving Hive tomb ship that always drops people off all over the Cosmodrome and on the moon.
Yeah.
Those move and then disappear like the steps in Atheon.
So we're talking about not only do you have to jump now from lantern to lantern, as you pointed out, reminding me very much of what is it, Super Castlevania 4 on the SNES, where at one point you're jumping on chandeliers, but now we're going back to the disappearing blocks from Vault of Glass and Mega Man per se.
And technically House of Wolves, because House of Wolves and Skolas stole that technology for his shit. So yes, now this is a thing. They move and then they disappear. So you have to essentially stand there and jump on one and guess through it and die a couple of times before you get there. There's a checkpoint halfway through. So if you get to that checkpoint on the ledge, you can at least not have to start all the way at the beginning. That took a while. Luckily, I had a specific set of exotic boots that gave me a quadruple jump as a hunter. Score. Hunters for the win. I see that shit down there. Don't you do that. So you get through that, and then you get into this room where there's a pedestal, not really a pedestal, but a giant circle relic area in the center. And then there's 2 relics and 2 giant spots to stand under. Okay. You split up into 3 and 3. You run over there, and it rotates between somebody having a brand, an aura, and somebody has a Death Singer power times 10. You have to, if you have the Death Singer power, you got to run and stand in the center till it discharges and then run back, and it rotates through. You got to do that 10 times. And I'm going to cut a lot of this. I might speed through a lot of it on my video. If somebody wants to spend the 2 hours watching it, they can do that. But that's just, I feel like that's cruel and unusual punishment, because I'm the one that I'll straight up say it, I was the one that continued to die in the center when I had the Death Singer power, because I could not get out of there without dying. There's 2 witches that spawn, and we'd take them out first, but then the ads would overpower us before I could get out, and somebody else would jump out, and by the time I hit one jump button, I would get killed. So it is set at level, all the enemies are set at level 42. You're a max level 40 with a recommended light level of 290. So you're about probably, I think I'm probably running at a 30% damage dealing deficiency to what I'm up against.
And but this is on normal. This is not like a hard version of the raid, right?
Normal. I feel like we're playing Atheon on hard, and I'm a level 29. But at the same time, it's made to be that way. And to be honest, my damage isn't the problem. I can take enemies out quickly. I got a couple of good perks that, as long as I get precision kills, I get quick reloads. I can get back on target quickly. I have no problems with that. The problem is being able to regen health quickly when I'm taking damage. That's the problem. Otherwise, the raid is really just about the mechanics. They put so many mechanics in each checkpoint. That's what stops you. Like, we finally, just before we even started doing this cast tonight, I spent the last 30, 40 minutes. We got through that room and did 2 runs up against the War Priest, who's the first boss. That boss, there's 3 platforms that you have to do in a specific order. 4 times, I think it is, 3 or 4 times, to roll through the cycle in order to be able to even put damage on him. And I watched Gothalion, who's he's a Twitch partner. He's a big Bungie partner, big Destiny guy. And I watched him. He was actually the team that hit the world's first for the raid. And I watched him do a little bit of it while I was at work one day. And they got stuck in there for like an hour trying to figure it out. So It's kind of, yeah. And now that all the strategies are out there, because I mean, I'm never going to be on a team that does world first. I'm just not going to do that unless I don't have a normal job, you know? So knowing that, I'm fine grabbing strategies from that and then running through it, perfectly okay with that. All in all, though, when I look at all the content, the Taken King content I've really enjoyed. The story content alone, yeah, I think it's probably like 10 missions. But once the end of the actual hard linear story is done, they've opened up 3 additional quest lines for the Taken War, which is more story. And then you get exotic quest lines throughout. Eris pops up with new quest lines that are also Oryx related. There's been probably at least an additional 10 quests that had 7 parts apiece that I completed after the fact in the last 2 weeks. Now, do you remember back when you played consistently with me, going in and picking up bounties and it would say, go to this area and kill this dude on heroic?
Yeah, I remember that.
Okay, so take that concept, expand it into a 7-part quest, and that's what they did. You have different checkpoints throughout a quest where you have to go and say, do 15 Taken Blights on this planet, kill this many champions, this many lieutenants, and then you bump into here and you have a specific target, and then you have to go do an additional mission that pops up, which is very House of Wolves-esque. Is there's extra missions that will pop up after Oryx is taken out in the story that come from Eris and come from other things. And the end reward is typically either a legendary piece of gear, a weapon, or potentially an exotic weapon. So all in all, I think it's worth it. I do think it's probably only worth $25 to $30 versus the $40 that I paid. All in all, So I'm not really sure that they did. And I don't think they did the right thing on their money this time anyway. I thought the whole way they priced it from the get off was wrong. So
I have to agree with that because I spent what $60 on vanilla, and then it was another 35 or something like that for the season pass, and then from there it didn't really feel like you got that much out of the what was it?
$95 for a game.
Yeah, exactly. So you had the Crota and the House of Wolves, which I think you and I. So you and I. Ooh, excuse me. We put a couple of nights into Crota at least. Like I got to the point where I was still running through trying to fill up that urn for the crazy three-eyed woman, and it got to the point where it was like, okay, you know what? Fuck it. I don't care. I'm just gonna leave it in my quest inventory, but I'm just gonna continue doing all other side stuff. And then House of Wolves came out, and I think you and I played it twice because you could get through the pseudo story in one sitting again.
No, Crota was one night. House of Wolves was 2 nights.
Was it? Okay. Well, either way, it wasn't very long until, I was pretty much out of stuff to do except for the bounties and the hunting the wolf packs. Now, not too long ago, I did, after the Taken King came out, I went ahead and dropped in, the Destiny. I jumped into the Destiny that I have access to. So, of course, on the Xbox One, it comes up with the big banner thing that covers your full screen for a minute while it's actually loading the game, and now it says Destiny the Taken King even if you're playing vanilla. And then from there I went into the game and was doing everything regularly, but my urn was gone. I couldn't do any more of those. At the reef there wasn't anything that I could get from anybody there as far as quests were concerned anymore. So it seemed to me like the update that came in with the Taken King pretty much shat all over everything that I had access to, because now I don't feel like I have access to everything like I did before that big 17 gig update that came out.
And you don't. That's actually been one of the biggest gripes in the community, because I've been looking at the forums a little bit lately. And the bigger thing is that some people haven't decided that they're going to get it, or there's some people who flat out said, I'm not going to buy this. And they're just getting on the forums to throw flame at that point. But I do agree with their point of the fact that anybody who is behind the year 2 paywall for content is effectively locked out of Nightfalls, Heroics, First Strikes, the daily Heroic mission. You're locked out of all of that content.
Well, that was and I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but that was basically the same when the DLCs, the Fallen, or
but that only lasted for a week. So because it was the first week where the Nightfall was the strike for that DLC, and the weekly Heroic was the strike for that DLC. They did that for Crota when they did Omnigul. They had Omnigul as both for like a week or 2 weeks, and then they put it in the rotation. It was fine. And for House of Wolves, they had the Nightfall be the 10x House of Wolves strike. And then the weekly Heroic, they made them different, where they weren't the same strike back to back. The Nightfalls now have taken away the additional experience boost that you get with the glowy
brainhead
stuff.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah. You don't have that anymore. Really, you just get exotic rewards now, and it stacks. So you can continue to do, it goes into, if you go from a Nightfall into a weekly Heroic, it stacks your ability to get better legendaries and an exotic drop. So you can sit and grind out or just play through the weekly Heroic playlist. If you like doing strikes on a Heroic setting, hang out there all day and you'll just get better shit every time you make it through, as long as you don't leave. I don't know. I think I like the way the operating system is now, the layout that they have for everything. I think the Dreadnought feels bigger because you can't use your Sparrow. That's annoying.
Well, at least you don't have the mission where you have to run and find the thing to unlock the thing so that you can use the Sparrow on the Dreadnought.
Yeah, you just know you're not going to get it. You just have to run everywhere.
Yeah. Well, now, here's another thing that I thought was really interesting. Not only did I feel like I lost access to a lot of the DLC stuff from year one when I was in it for my short period of time. But I grabbed a few bounties and ran to Mars, and I was doing this, these bounties where it's like kill so many of the what are the Mars bad guys, the Cabal, and then also kill some of the Venus bad guys, which was the yeah, thank you. And so I knew about that one spot on Mars where I could sit and actually fight basically those two guys over and over again, and it wasn't a big deal. But then all of a sudden, and I don't know the names for these guys because I haven't been doing the Crota stuff, all of a sudden these black and white Taken Fallen guys show up. It's like, I can fight them, I could kill them, and that's all well and dandy, but it's like, I have no, there's no explanation as to where these fuckers come from at all.
So if you think about the other two DLCs, a week before Crota dropped, the Swords of Crota were all over Venus, or were all over the moon. And then a week after House of Wolves dropped, the Swords of Crota were gone. They don't spawn anymore. The bounty was still there for Eris. You could go do it, but you have to do the Fist of Crota mission 3 times, which was fine. People were doing that anyway versus waiting for them to spawn. And then you had the wolf packs that would pop up in almost every single zone, and you had to go hunt them down. So now, same thing, but instead of, they have one rune that you can complete weekly, where you go to the Dreadnought, you spawn a Taken set, you kill a named major, a named yellow bar major. It drops an Agonarch rune. You go back every day, spawn that thing, kill the new one that pops up. Once you get it charged up 7 times, you can go drop it in a specific part of the Dreadnought down by the asylums, which is where we did part of the sword quest the other day. You drop that up, it spawns a stupid amount of hive, and you have to hope you don't completely lose your shit. And then you get a moderate amount of stuff. I mean, there's probably 3 or 4 legendary items I got out of that thing. So
now here's another problem I have with the Taken stuff, and I'm sorry, I'm not trying to poke holes, but it's something that I've got to do from this side of the paywall. So the Dreadnought is basically a new planet per se.
It's a ship. It's Oryx's spaceship that is inside the rings of Saturn.
Okay, and he's just letting Guardians fly to his ship all day long, every day, and then take off and leave. He doesn't have mounted turrets on the outside shooting you fuckers down as you're trying to come in.
No, well, so if you watched when I started, the Queen actually took out all of his additional defenses, because in the original cinematic, the Awoken go to confront Oryx in the rings of Saturn and his army. He had probably 10, 15 ships that were mini dreadnoughts sitting around him, almost as like a shield wall. The Awoken ships, their little mini fighters, couldn't do shit. So the Queen, who we all have now in the community have determined is a warlock, summoned some weird ass 4 or 5, I don't know how many balls of light that flew through space, destroyed everything else but the Dreadnought. Oryx fired off his weapon that essentially locked his Dreadnought into place and created a pulse field around it. That's why if you look in the ring of, if you see Saturn and I'm hovering above it, I just came from the Dreadnought and I'm sitting in orbit, you'll see behind it a giant sphere around the Dreadnought of the rocks that were from the ring that just kind of hung out there. And he's just hanging out there because with Guardians coming back and forth on patrols and shit, Oryx is dead, technically. He's fled to his own dimension. He took himself at the end of that fight in the main story.
You say that, and all of a sudden I have that line from Taken where Liam Neeson is like, I don't know who you are. I don't know what you want, but I have a certain set of skills.
Yeah, very similar. But no, so instead of him taking an ogre or taking random stuff that you fight throughout the storyline, he ends up, you confront him, you fight him, you take him out, he ends up taking himself into his own secondary dimension that he created. And that's why you can go to and from the Dreadnought, because you can't, once that's done, you have to actually go around the dreadnought and lay the patrol beacons as a guardian.
Wait, okay, so the little ones that you get you stupid missions about go here and scan this thing, or yeah. Okay.
You have to go drop them shits, and you have to do the patrol as you drop it. My most favorite part of this expansion has been Nathan Fillion.
Oh yeah, no, I give you that. That's one part that makes me want to buy this is just listening to him do that character.
Well, and not even just that. They gave all of the Vanguard guys more personality. You know, I mean, Eris pops up with more stuff. Zavala has a little bit more like, Cade, what the hell are you doing? The Warlock one, you know, Ikora Rey, she's kind of meh, whatever. But Cade gives 0 fucks. 0. And it's awesome.
Now, here's a question I have to ask, and I don't care if it's spoilerific, so if it is spoilerific, warning, I'm going to ask a question that will lead to a spoiler. That weird stranger Exo lady that you meet at the end of the first game, does she come back at all in this?
No.
Storytelling at its finest.
They do kind of hint to it at one point, and they do make the Stranger's Rifle a legendary now, which the rumor is, I don't think anybody's done it yet, but the rumor is that it can convert into an exotic at some point, kind of like the Husk of the Pit, Edeon Ally, Necrochasm thing. You don't convert the Stranger's Rifle from a blue into a legendary. It just becomes one. So I recently finished the main story on my Warlock. Because for those who don't know, I created a Warlock just because I got the Ram's Head exotic one day playing with my buddy Reiner Brandt, who spent quite literally, he bought 120 exotic engrams at 23 motes of light a piece to get that, and did not get it.
Oh, so this is like the Husk of the Pit with me.
Yes.
Where you were like, we're going to kill these guys, I'm going to get the Husk of the Pit, and I'm like, what was it, like 30 minutes into that, I was like, what gun were you looking for? Because I think you got it.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what happened with me. I bought 2 engrams, and I got 1 helmet for me, and I got 1 helmet for Warlock. I was like, well, I'm going to make a Warlock just so I can wear it. Just so I can wear it. And I completed it, and it came to me as a legendary. So if you were to play Destiny now on a new character, you would get that rifle as a legendary at the end of the main story. I still think it would be year 1. I don't think it would be year 2, but I don't know how that's going to work. I got nothing. I do think that, and this is what I'm going to put out there for anybody watching. I've actually talked to Ian about this too. On my Twitch page, I have a donation button. If I get enough donations to purchase the Taken King for Ian, I'm going to do it. And then I will create my Titan and roll through it with him.
And then I will create a hunter or something. And
I honestly think you would like the Hunter Night Stalker class. I've kind of, as a hunter, I've kind of become the new tank, where I can tether enemies together and make them all super slow, and I spawn a stupid amounts of orbs of light for everybody to recharge their supers.
That sounds like the demon hunter from Diablo.
Yeah, yeah. It's a giant circle of death.
Yes.
It's no lie. I'm going to make one giant gripe about one quest line. There is a quest line called, it's an exotic quest line. It's for the Chaperone, which is the exotic shotgun that they spin to reload.
Oh, you mean like Arnold Schwarzenegger in Terminator 2 when he's on a motorcycle? Okay. Real cool. I like this. All right, go on. Let's hear a gripe.
I want the shotgun, right? I want it. I have the last word. It spins. My Ace of Spades that I just got, it spins. I think it's kind of cool. It's a nice little aesthetic. So the quest line requires you to be essentially a boss in the Crucible with the last word equipped as your primary weapon. You don't have to get kills with it. You can get kills with your special weapon, with your heavy. You can get kills with your sword. You can kills with your super. It doesn't matter. The problem is that when you die, it obviously, you get maybe 15%, you die, it'll almost wipe it out. I mean, it'll drop you 3-4% back off of one death. And you have to get essentially on a kill streak to be able to get it back up to where you were at. That's my gripe. I'm not a boss in Crucible. I'll straight tell you, I suck at multiplayer on this game. And I'm really not that good at it on Call of Duty either. I'm kind of so-so. They need to fix the modifier for getting killed. I mean, the only way that people have actually made it through this quest is by boosting it. Unless they just are retardedly good at Crucible. Otherwise, you're taking 3 people in a fire team, going in a rumble, which is free-for-all, and boosting it over in a corner somewhere, cycling through people, just you getting kills and kills and kills and kills and kills, which is one way to do the sword quest too.
Wait, now the sword quest, does that make you go into Crucible as well?
You do have to get 25 kills with your sword in the Crucible, but you don't have to have the blade active. You don't have to have heavy ammo to be able to do it. You can just equip your sword in melee. It takes 2 hits with it, but I got that done in a day, maybe 2. If you were to play it in 2 nights and just do nothing but Crucible, you could get it done relatively simply. The goal is to get into either Rumble, Control, or maybe even Clash, which is a regular deathmatch. You'd go in and hit bitches twice, and then if you can get heavy ammo, get heavy ammo.
I'm no good at even hitting people once.
It's a completely different because you're in third person with the sword, so you can see them coming up a little bit. But when you have the sword, your movement's a little bit restricted because you're third person.
Kind of like back in Halo, if you picked up a turret or a chain gun.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So 25 kills is fine. You don't lose kills for dying for the sword.
But is it an exotic?
You can. Well, that's the quest line that gets it to an exotic.
Okay.
Because in order to get the sword in the first place, you get your quest line from Eris. She tells you to go talk to Lord Shaxx, and he says,
Hold up. Lord Shaxx, like Lord Shaquille O'Neal?
Well, that's
what happened? Where'd you go? There you are. Okay. Ooh, that was scary. All of a sudden, your little picture in the bottom of the screen here went to your image, dropped off, and then popped back in.
Oh, weird.
Very weird.
Okay. So you go to Lord Shaxx, and he says, go collect X amount of Hadium Flakes on the Dreadnought. Which is just opening up chests to get Hadium Flakes.
And now I take it, Hadium Flakes are the reoccurring things like the helium and
No, those are worm spores.
Okay. Oh, Jesus fucking Christ.
Hadium Flakes are a specific material that allow you to buy stuff from Eris, who's the 3-eyed chick, and they work for your sword. And then you get your sword in the first place. You level it up. You infuse higher stuff into it to get it to where it'll hit an additional point of ammo and damage. It has to be at about a 290 damage level-ish for you to get the quest for the exotic portion. And once you get that, that's when the grind really begins.
Okay, now let me ask you a question. These Hadium Flakes.
Yeah.
Would you say they're great?
Your stuff's not popping up. Yes.
Well, your stuff's popping up, so we're fine on my end. So it doesn't.
All right. Well, as long as we're fine on the video, we'll be all right. So it's weird. I'm just talking to myself now.
Am I even down in the bottom corner at least?
You're down in the bottom corner. But the biggest part of the grind for the sword quest is whatever I picked Void. And apparently, from rumor is the Void one is the best one according to the community. It just wrecks more shop apparently. I picked it just because that was the subclass I was using, and I figured it'd be easy at some point. I guess I should get them to match. I don't know. I'll get one for each one. And there is a point where you have to go and farm specific rare relic materials on a planet that corresponds to the weapon that you have. So for Void, I had to go do relic shards on Mars and farm them on a 1% drop rate for a rare relic crystal.
Fuck that. I'm sorry. For all the children that are listening to this, for one, your parents are horrible people. Why are you letting your children listen to this? A 1% drop rate? I can understand that if we're talking about the Honeybee Shield in Borderlands 2. I can understand that. But we're talking about an item that's needed to what? Update what's the word I'm looking for? Upgrade a fucking item, and it's got a 1% drop rate.
Ish. Yeah, that's the percentage isn't actual fact. I mean, that's just what it feels like, because it took me 2 days to get them all. And now I did find a little bit of a glitch to kind of help me through getting the, number of relic shards per relic crystal type thing. If you're near a zone, between zones, you hit the relic shard or you hit the relic iron, go, come back, get it again, go, come back. You've got 30 seconds before it times out. You can hit it as many times as possible, as long as you zone out and come back in. So that, I believe, helped me out a little bit in getting it done faster. Otherwise, there are people who are probably still doing it. And then the only other way to complete that thing quickly is when Mayhem Clash comes around, which is one where all abilities, supers, and ammunition things recharge at like a 250% rate, is to go do that. Because you have to get a certain amount of ability kills, a certain percentage. There's got a percentage bar that you have to do of ability kills in order to finish that step of the quest. You turn that part in, and then you have to wait till the next Arms Day comes around to get your sword and go do a special version of. You remember when we did the Thorn Strike?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a strike called the Sunless Cell, which has a giant Crota-like dude who disappears into the darkness, and it's a pitch black room. He's going to have 3 wardens in there with him, and I'm going to have to.
I thought it was part of the raid.
Story?
Oh, it's part of the story. Okay.
It was, but this is the same thing. Like the Thorn Bounty, you have a special version of the Fogoth Strike, right? Where you have to kill that one wizard before you kill Fogoth.
Right, okay.
Similar thing here, where we have to get the wardens down to like no health, get him down to no health, take the wardens out, and then him within 30 seconds of each other.
Oh my fucking God.
Apparently it only takes like 7 minutes if you've got the right people with you, from what I've seen. So it shouldn't be that bad, but I'm willing to bet it's going to be awful. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing, apparently, as soon as you get it, it maxes out at the 310 damage rate. So I'll take it.
Ugh. That's, man. I mean, at first when I started hearing people talk about what is new in the Taken King, I was like, man, I might be missing out on this. But now actually listening to you talk about it, it sounds like, yes, there is more of what we, as being the early adopters that feel that they got burned horribly by it, it sounds like there is more of what should have been in year 1, but now it also sounds like there's still more of the same type of stuff. Like, I understand it's an MMO. I get it. I mean, even though Bungie at first was like, no, don't call us an MMO, it is an MMO because of the stuff that they've got in there.
They've crossed the line. It is an MMO, and I don't want to interrupt you, but at the same time, I'll agree with you where you make a valid point. It's the day oneers feel like who got burned feel like, okay, this is where it should be. Yeah, it might be worth it now. Maybe not. We'll see. Maybe wait when it comes out on a sale. It hits up on a Games for Gold or something, or you happen to catch it on sale at Walmart via disc copy or something like that. Get it on a price drop. Do that. But I don't like that they are kind of recycling some content, but they've changed it. So they're taking the same principal ideas and applying it to the new content that they have versus coming up completely new ideas. In my opinion, if year 3 isn't an entirely brand new $60 purchase with almost an exact new world, then they failed.
No, see, year three, if it's a new disc, or if it's actually called Destiny 2, it doesn't need one new world. It needs how many did we have in the original
When I mean new world,
disc?
I mean new game world. So I mean, if
Okay.
you're looking at the Earth, the Tower, Moon, Venus, Mars, Saturn, and the Dreadnought, and the Reef, 7 or 8 zones or 7 or 8 like technical destinations. You've got to have at minimum that to start with for year 3, and then you have to be able to expand it. I understand that their system is finite because I've talked to a developer friend of mine and we've had this conversation, and he's like, look, their system can only go so far, which is why they're really only opening up additional zones and playing back through maps. As a content creator, he likes that idea because it's less work to have to put out. And I straight told him this. I said, as a consumer, I think it's a cop out.
Oh yeah. I said that when we were playing the fucking expansion packs on the first one, because all they did was like, oh, you remember that spot on the Cosmodrome? Okay, go there because there's going to be a door that opens up now that wasn't open before.
Well, at the very least, in this one, when you go to that Sepkus Prime Strike area, there's almost an entire brand new zone past there. Whereas in House of Wolves, it was like half a zone.
It
So
wasn't even a zone, it was a fucking room.
yeah,
That's all it was.
no, no.
Well, no,
Crota
I'm
was
thinking of
room.
Crota. Never mind. Yeah, yeah. Well, either way, same fucking difference.
I completely agree. But long term, if you look at this franchise long term, I think they're on the right track. I think they might be able to get there. I honestly think this is going to be the year that makes or breaks them.
Yeah, well, I tell you what they need to do in Destiny 2 or Year 3. You need to be able to get on the Traveler. Yeah, yeah. And then maybe, I don't know, you meet some giant old Forerunner type guy that's asleep in the middle of it. We could call him the Diadact. Yeah, because that's original. Let's go ahead and do that because he came before, brought the golden age, and now saved humanity. He's a master of some. We should just call him Chief. We should just call him Chief. That's all we should do. Oh man, that would be phenomenal. Oh, and he would be angelic too. You could almost say he would have a halo around his head as he descended from the sky to save everybody from this shitty fucking game.
I'm going to put money on the fact that Cortana's inside the Traveler.
You know what? If that happens, fuck, I don't know what I'll do. I'll guarantee you that I will purchase you the rest of the fucking 10 years of Destiny as it comes out.
It's on video. It's on the internet. This is real.
But it has to be Cortana, not the voice actor. It has to be the character. Because
I completely agree. So, but I do think that you should play through this set of content because I think you'd enjoy it. I do think that you could, once you get to 40, we can run you through all the raids. We can just do a night of raiding.
You mean a night or two or a week of raiding? Because I've heard these things take a while, especially when you've got some novice ass motherfucker jumping off of shit that he shouldn't be.
Nah, we could probably run Atheon inside of less than an hour. Crota might take a little bit more than an hour. Crota's actually easier than Atheon.
See, and that's what I've heard is that Crota is actually like the black sheep of all the raids.
Mhm.
That, like everybody's like, fucking Crota sucks, but Vault of Glass and this other thing, I don't
Vault
even.
of Glass just has more mechanics. That's all.
See, and that's the thing that also kind of pisses me off that we saw throughout the expansion packs in year one is that there's so much cool stuff that's behind the you need 6 friends wall. Now, granted, I know the community has come strong and made all these other avenues for people to meet people. Hell, I think that's how you met some of the guys that you play with, if I'm not mistaken. Or did you?
I met them through the people that I already knew that were on. I would get pulled into. The way you meet people is by getting pulled into raiding parties. You have a couple of friends that are raiding who jump on the Destiny LFG site looking for a group in order to find a raiding party. And then you start bringing people in. And we actually, the Late Night Enforcers clan on Destiny, not only are we currently recruiting, we just gained a couple of new members and are currently assimilating the original Space Ranger clan into ours. Because I'm really good friends with the guys that head that up. So we're bringing them in. We're getting that bigger so that we can continue to have bigger groups to do more stuff. My vision for the Late Night Enforcers clan on Destiny is one that Sherpas new people coming in, because most of us are day oneers. And if you come in now, it's not going to be too bad to come in and get power level to where we are and then start doing the stuff that we're doing.
See, what I would find interesting though is trying to, because we have a mutual friend in another group that we kind of hang out with, the Super Barley Brothers, which is another group that I do a podcast with. One of those guys actually recently got his hands on an Xbox One, and me and Ryan have been joking with him because he got into Destiny right before he got that, but it's on a PlayStation 4. So we're like, oh man, too bad you didn't wait, because then you got Ryan and his like umpteen number of buddies that you could be playing that with. But he's got friends on that end. I'm kind of intrigued almost. Maybe if it goes on a deep enough sale, I might buy him the Xbox One. Like, was it the $60 version that has vanilla all the way up to the Taken King?
Yeah, I might legendary version. I don't think they're ever going to do that one on a sale. Maybe Game of the Year.
Yeah, well, I think it might be one of these things where it may be available as a download, like a digital version on a sale, or Amazon or Walmart might try to get rid of stock for shelf space, but that would probably be the only time that we see it. But it would be one of those things where it's like it would be worth it to get him a copy, to get him in, because he's actually one of the guys I used to play Halo with, starting with Halo 2. Like, we played a lot of that shit together. So that it would be interesting to play another Bungie type game with him. Granted, he's going to be playing, and I'm going to kind of segue a little bit, and we could cut back if I get too far off track. He's going to be one of the guys that will play Halo 4 with us.
5?
And that's what I said. 5. I said 5. What the fuck's wrong with you? I said 5. Shut up. So he's going to be one of the guys that plays Halo 5 with us, and the winner of the copy that we give away when that time comes, when we do our live Batman thing near the end of October.
Yeah, which that's the perfect thing. So I'm really looking forward to it. No lie, I already put the pre-order digital download on my Xbox for Halo 5.
Of course you did, because
I'm me.
Yeah, because you're predictable, actually.
Yeah, but I figured, why not? You know, I was gonna buy it anyway. I'm fine with that game being as a digital download versus, you know, Evolve.
Oh shit! Sorry.
Can you tell I got burned up? But by the way, you didn't buy that game when it was on the cheap, did you?
Nope. No, even though I told you I would when it was like $30. I was like, I'll buy it when it's $30. And there it was $25 for the $90 version you bought. And I still couldn't pull the trigger, because it was like, you know what? When will we ever play it? He's got Destiny, and I've got umpteen number of fucking games that I'm playing right now. So
yeah. But I honestly can't wait for our Batman live stream on October 24th. I think that's going to be a good discussion. There will be plenty of spoilers. I'm going to make sure that I go through the Red Hood content before that. And for specifically for Arkham Knight, I'm going to have to do I doubt I can pull it off. Well, I might be able to. I see if I can do a quick blow through of all the other games, because I have them all on my 360 and on the One. So I'll have to see if I can't roll through all that very, very quickly.
I highly doubt it. With as much time as I put into each game, and it took me, I think it was like 3 months to get through all of them, I don't think you can pull it off.
It didn't take you that long.
No, hold on a second. Let me get my Steam up and running here. You keep talking.
I don't think it took you that long. But regardless, when we do that stream, I think it'll be a really good discussion. I think it'll include a whole lot of people in it. I'm hoping we get a bunch of viewers specifically. That's kind of why I want to make sure that we're going to get this Halo 5 out there, because I want to get some of the people that have started to jump in and watch us do this podcast consistently, especially when we're live. Like it's not going to be an arguing one. The plan isn't for you and I to sit here and argue, which I know is the big draw in and the big enticing. Come in and watch Ryan and Ian fight about stupid shit. This one, I like Deathstroke, so it's not really a whole lot of me making fun of Deathstroke the whole time. But I think that it'll be fun to play with a viewer of ours on Halo 5, especially if we can do it co-op style, which I think they should be able to do.
Yeah, see, the whole game is based around being able to do it 4-player co-op the whole time. In fact, your boy Nathan Fillion is
he's actually modeled in the game.
Well, yeah, he is. He went from being just a ODST or orbital drop shock trooper. He went from being that in the old ODST game, and I think he was also in Halo 3, is that he went from that, and between 4 and 5, he actually went through the Spartan 3. Damn it, I know I get lost in this shit because there's so much lore to the Halo universe that just doesn't exist in one other Bungie-based game. So he went through the program and is now Spartan Buck instead of ODST Buck. So it is a very it's based around doing that. Like, I have no idea who Master Chief's team is, but I've seen a lot of, like, if you watch the opening cinematic on YouTube, it is Spartan Locke's team, which is him, Buck, and then the 2 other people who I have no idea it is. Real quick, just a backtrack. The first achievement that I got in Batman Origins, which I played them in chronological order, not release order, the first achievement I got was June 7th. And
you just finished Arkham Knight?
I want to say it was like 2 weeks ago.
Okay. Yeah, so yeah, you're right. That makes sense. So I'm really looking forward to that one.
I am too. I really am, because it's going to be 3 different people throwing their different views on it. I'm pretty sure we're all going to be in agreement on the tank bullshit from 4. And I don't know.
I mean, I liked it. They threw the Batmobile in there, but at the same time,
let's save it. Let's save it, because I think that's going to be at least 30 minutes of just like drum beating, sitting around a circle, everybody getting their aggressions out on that shit.
Yeah, right.
Oh, and I've got a big one. Oh, dude, we totally forgot to do that, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
So this past weekend, I had a little itty bitty Oktoberfest type thing. So the night before, I went out and got a couple of German beers. Well, one of the ones that I really like, and unfortunately I couldn't find their Oktoberfest version, is Warsteiner. That's a really shiny ass label. I need to get a softer light here. But it's Warsteiner. It's as you can tell, it's an amber beer. It's a light lager style. It's nice. It's easy drinking, really easy drinking. The Oktoberfest one is a slightly sweeter version of it. I had that one for the first time, I think about 3 or 4 years ago, and was just floored by it. I absolutely loved it. But Warsteiner is not a craft beer per se. It is a mass-produced type of thing where you can buy it in 12 packs, things along those lines.
Nice. Okay. Well, it's good to see that, you're wearing your scarves and your Ugg boots, and you're drinking your pumpkin spice latte beers, and you're enjoying all that.
We're done. We're done here. We're done. Close my laptop. We're done. I'm not talking to you anymore. Fuck off. Okay, that's what I'm doing.
Oh man, I'm still back on my K whiskey.
Is it K or Key? I keep forgetting.
K. It's K.
See, not too long ago, I had a situation arise where I needed whiskey. And it was one of these things where I was like in a store, I was like, Ryan likes KY stuff. And then I thought about it for a second. I was like, KY? That sounds like a sexual lubricant. I think I'm just going to grab this giant bottle of Jameson and walk out of the store with my head hung high because I'm not buying alcoholic lubricant for sexual escapades.
K-E. K-E.
See, I was on the wrong aisle then.
Yep.
Because I was on the KY aisle in a liquor store.
What you do in your own time is what you do in your own time.
Shut the fuck up. But I tell you what, man, this remote right here gets real deep, like real deep. I think I can get it all the way down to where I can hit like the forward and the backwards, and I'm talking about going in from this end down. Yeah. We're not recording still, are we?
Yeah. Yep. So for anybody who is going to be joining us, please make sure to set a reminder. I already have the event created. We might flex the time a little bit based on Scott's availability. But But set a reminder, pop in, get into the chat, get into the discussion, because we like that shit. Tell us that we're stupid. Tell us if we're wrong about comic stuff. Remember, primarily we are going to be talking about the video game universe that they've created, and we might compare it to some of the comic storylines, especially when Arkham Knight and the Red Hood and the Killing Joke start coming into it, because that's where they really start delving into all that. A lot of it is still just kind of like, hey, it's Batman.
There was a really interesting, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you. There was a really interesting situation that arose for me recently playing through those games. I'm not going to go too deep into it because I'll bring it up when we're doing the full-on conversation. But I started collecting the Batman comic books, but the mainline Batman comic books, because unfortunately Batman in comic books is like Spider-Man. You have the Amazing, you have the Spectacular, you have the Unlimited. There's too many different lines when it comes to that. So I've started collecting just the Batman stories. So for anyone that is reading that line, I picked up the issue right after Death of the Family. So I was in the middle of playing Arkham Knight, picked this up, and shit was all fucked up. And I'll go into greater detail on our live thing as what was going on. I actually thought the end of Arkham Knight was ruined because I know that, if I'm not mistaken, and I could be wrong, part of what happened in City actually carried over to the comic books for a while. But
it might have. I don't know. I haven't kept up with it lately. I'll go on binges where I'll read a whole lot of Batman at one time, and then I'll stop for a couple of months. My last binge was on the Court of Owls, which was a really good trek, and they're actually going to bring that into the Gotham TV show that just came back. This next season is going to include the Court of Owls.
They have an animated movie based on that. There was
it's the son. It's not the son of Batman. It's the next one.
Yeah, which is Batman versus Robin.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Because me and my son watched the Son of Batman because Deathstroke was the big bad guy in it, and Deathstroke is the greatest thing ever. We stopped the movie right before the good guys win, because the good guys always win, unfortunately. We didn't actually stop the movie. I'm trying to make a stupid joke. But shortly thereafter, we did get to borrow a copy of Robin versus Batman, and it was very interesting. I strongly suggest that series of animated movies. Unfortunately, Kevin, what's his name, is not doing the voice. Kevin Conroy is not doing the voice of Batman, but take it as it is. We're talking way too much about Batman, and we're not on our Batman stream.
Yeah, no, I mean, we've talked plenty about Destiny, to be honest, I think.
Fuck yeah, we have. So we should talk about some Metal Gear before we call this a night.
How I mean, other than the lack of viewership last night, how has that been going? I mean, I've seen some of it. I like the way it looks.
So I tell you what, man, actually, I remember playing Metal Gear Solid on the PlayStation 1. Actually, let me rephrase that. I didn't play it the first time through. I actually watched someone play it. I went out and bought the walkthrough so that I could help someone go through it, because it was even though if you go back and look at it today, it doesn't look that great, but it was such a cinematic experience when you were sitting there watching it for the first time, like right as it came out. It was like Final Fantasy VII. It was just so awesome and so amazing. So I enjoyed that. I bought Metal Gear Solid 2, and I played that one all the way up to a swimming section. If you've ever played it, you know what I'm talking about. You swim through this one section, then you find this one character, and then you have to do an escort mission swimming, and fuck that noise. That's where I stopped. I stopped it, but I tried to really keep in with everything that was going on in the Metal Gear story, because then they did this whole time flippity-doo-dah thing where, excuse me, the first two in the Solid story was about Metal Gear, or was about Solid Snake, who is a clone of Snake or Big Boss, which this gets convoluted. So Metal Gear Solid 3 was actually the story of Big Boss. So you went back to like 1969 and saw him go from being Naked Snake to becoming Big Boss because of certain things that took place during that. Then after that, you had like Peace Walker, or no, you had Portable Ops, which is not canon, except for some sections of it, which doesn't make any sense. Then you had Peace Walker, then you had Metal Gear Solid 4, which then goes back to Solid Snake, and he's an old-ass motherfucker. Then you go to Ground Zeroes, which is back to Big Boss, Naked Snake, and then you go to Ground Zeroes, or Phantom Pain, which, again, is still Big Boss, but now he's punished Snake because he lost his arm. As we all knew, he didn't have his arm in the original like Metal Gear and Metal Gear 2 on the MSX system and the Nintendo. Um, Man, it's fucking convoluted. So going into 5, I really enjoyed it. It is a open world Metal Gear game. It's really interesting, but playing through, like I said, when I stopped playing 2 is because Sneak Games started to give me, I almost want to say, heart palpitations, to the point where it was like difficult for me to play these games. Like I would get way too anxious. And then, you know, 3 came out and you didn't have an actual radar. You couldn't mark people or anything along those lines. You just had this little circle on the side of the screen that just let you know how much sound was going on around you. And I was just like, no, I can't do that. I couldn't even get through the demo at all. And the silencer on your gun would deteriorate after time. Like, I don't know if that actually happens to real silencers, but
No.
that was irritating. And that still happens in 5, but I can at least do a supply drop where they drop a new silencer for me. So I can
That's
use
just
a gun.
for the freaking difficulty factor. It doesn't legitimately happen.
Well, I give you that. I mean, you're the Marine. I'm the guy that wanted to be in the Marines. And
I actually have one.
well, yes, I know. I've fired. Are you reaching under your table to pull it out? That would be
No.
weird. Look, here it is. But it's really cool. I really enjoy it. It's very, very weird. Like, I mean, I've gone like a few missions where it's like, just escort this guy out of, or go and rescue this prisoner, go and rescue this prisoner, go in here and get this blueprint for this gun that you want, go get this gun from this group of people that have acquired the gun. And it's like, okay. And then all of a sudden you get the Metal Gear weirdness, which the game starts with some serious weird shit where you're in a hospital because the ending of Ground Zero, which you really should play that, because that does have a lot of like backstory stuff in it. 5 does too, and I'll lend you 5 if you want to at least give it a spin, because I got the disc copy of it. Like when I'm done with it, if you want to, you know, run it.
I'm gonna give it a spin.
You can
It's been a while since I've done a Metal Gear, so.
Well, if you listen to the tapes that kind of help fill in the backstory, it only fills in like Metal Gear Solid 3 and Peace Walker, because and Ground Zero, because that's technically in the story, that's the only stuff that's happened. The other stuff is not really important. As long as you understand that stuff, you're fine. That's cool. After that, that's a whole different bag of worms.
Yeah.
Can of worms, jar of worms. I don't give a fuck. But it's a very interesting game. At this point right now, I have the only buddy I can take with me into the field is the horse. I've probably played the game for about 8 hours, but it was like a few missions, and then I've been focusing on side ops. Not too long ago, I was doing, man, my stream ran that night for like 3 hours and 44 minutes to be exact, and I was trying to do a let's play. Like I was going to do every mission except for the side op stuff, and I had that entire stream. All the sound was 10 seconds behind the video. So that killed it. I did way too many missions, way too many side ops during that time, that it was like, you know what? I'm not going to go back. I'm not going to start the game over just to get to that point and do that again. It's not happening. So now I'll stream it, but I don't think I'm going to archive it unless something really cool happens to happen during one of my streams. But the other night I was playing and I was like, I'm going to go do the side op where I have to go get the blueprint for this particular mechanical arm, since I've lost my arm. And all of a sudden I come across the Sniper Quiet. Like just randomly come across the Sniper Quiet, and I have to do like this boss fight, and she can, for lack of a better term, she's like Flash and can teleport like Nightcrawler all over the fucking place. It was really interesting because at first I thought all I was going to have to do is get to her perch and knock her out so that I could take her to the base and convert her to one of my people. So I spent this entire playthrough running through the little map, arena, whatever you want to call it, trying to get to where she is. I got there and I was like, how am I supposed to get up to her? And then all of a sudden I hear this poof, and I look out and I can actually see like these little dust clouds as she's running away from my position. And then I see the glint of her scope as she's looking at me.
You sneaky little bitch.
Yeah. So I had to take cover and bust out my sniper rifle and shoot her. So eventually I got her. She jumped into the middle of the arena, and you're given a choice. You can kill her, or you could take her as a companion. And I didn't take her as a companion because she's dead sexy and wears almost no clothes. Let me just throw that out there for anyone that joins my stream and is like, Ian, you're a pervert. I'm not a pervert. She's a sniper. And with as many headshots as I've been doing in this game, guys have started wearing helmets. So I can use her to knock off a helmet and then tranquilize a guy before I send him back to my base to convert him to my team. But it's really cool. If you played Peace Walker, Portable Ops, or Ground Zeroes, I highly recommend it. I had a lot of fun with Ground Zeroes, but it doesn't feel anything like the other games that came before it because, as it's been said before, I think Ego Raptor said it best on his Hot Pepper Gaming review of Ground Zeroes. He said all the other Metal Gears were like a straight line, very linear. It was, get a mission, get a set objective, go do it. And then, from there, you get another set objective and you go do it. Now, you could technically run back through all this place, but it's just like a Metroid map where you always have access to run through the whole map until you reach a wall where you got to fight a boss and move on type of thing. Not an actual wall, but I'm talking about like a wall within the game.
Yeah, no. Yeah. It sounds like a standard Metal Gear game that's content rich, story. It sounds like, definitely let me know when you're done with it. I'd love to give it a spin.
The one thing I do hate about it, and then we can wrap this up, is Kiefer Sutherland is given like a big part as playing Big Boss or Punished Snake in this. He doesn't talk a lot. And when David Hayter was Solid Snake or Big Boss in 3, he talked a lot. There's not a lot. Yes, there are taped situations that you can listen to where there's 3 people talking back and forth. And I fucking hate the fact that Miller and Ocelot sound exactly alike. So it's really hard to tell the difference when one of them is talking. Like if it's a tape with one and they don't clearly state who's talking, it's like, okay, wait, who is this? Is this Ocelot or is this Miller?
Yeah.
So that's my one gripe so far. But other than that, I'm having a lot of fun with it. It still does give me that. I've gone back to the part where it's like I've almost got the space cleared out, or I've got a guy over my shoulder and shit just went haywire. My silencer just wore out on my machine gun, so now I'm going to be loud as fuck, and I got to get this guy out of the base. Like my heart will get racing, but then again, that's good. That's what you want from a game, is you want your body to react to it. You want everything to kind of, the immersion is there. It's fuck.
I've actually been asked to stream a scary game.
Oh yeah, you're gonna. Because I think I owe you a scary game because you picked up a Master Chief's action figure for me.
Yeah, you should be getting that delivered at some point. Probably this weekend, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So that should be to you soon. But yeah, I'll pick one. I don't care. I'll stream it. I've had requests to play a scary game and stream it from other people who are viewers because they want to see how I react, and I will probably scream louder than you.
I highly doubt that.
Yeah,
but
that is true. I do have a 1-year-old. So
wait a second.
But that's going to do it for us tonight on the Destiny review, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you enjoyed our interesting take. And honestly, if you know us, then it was as expected. I don't think it's horrible. I do think it's not the greatest game in the world, but it's something I enjoy playing with the 10 or so people that I play with right now. Follow us both, hit the sub button, tune in what is it, 3 weeks?
Hold up. Let me get that calendar.
About that, October 24th?
About that October 24th. That's actually in 4 weeks.
Okay, so about 4 weeks, tune in. It will be a Saturday evening. We'll be giving away a copy of Halo 5. We have yet to post up what the rules will be, but I will put them up on my Facebook page, just facebook.com/LeakStealthy85. I'll put them all up there. Or if you're in the Super Barley Brothers group, we'll put them up there too, and we'll cross-post it.
Or you could join both groups, the Super Barley Brothers on Facebook or the Late Night Enforcers on Facebook. These are the groups. This is where the shit happens. Usually on the Late Night Enforcers, they're going to be talking about Destiny because that's a lot where the clan hangs out. Except for me, I'm usually the guy that's like, guys, let's talk about other games and other bullshit. But they're usually talking about Destiny.
I'm trying to get some people in the clan that are on Destiny to play other games because there's a couple people that this has been the only game they've played for over a year. And I think it's about time they try something else.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of free games with gold, and they got to have a gold membership to be playing with you. Some of these games are actually pretty good. So
we now get 2 free games with gold
a month. Yeah. I'm excited about that. And actually this month they're offering up one game that I really want. The Valiant Hearts at the beginning. I like that. I want to play that. I actually already have season 1 of Walking Dead on the 360, but I'm still gonna download it on the one just because.
Well, if you want, we can both do Valiant. What is it?
Valiant Heart.
Yeah, that one.
It's not a co-op thing.
That's fine. We can both play it. It still don't matter.
Yeah, very true. Very true. All right, so we're going to wrap this up because I have to piss like a motherfucker. And I've been sitting here for 2 hours or so talking about video games and stupid shit. And drinking 3 of these fuckers. I drank 3 of these fuckers. And there was a bunch of Mountain Dew before that, too. So I'm not in a good way. By the way, people are still playing Titanfall. I just thought I'd throw that out there because I needed to kill some time before the stream tonight, or the recording tonight. And I played some Titanfall, and there's still people playing it. And they have ranked matches. It's fucking awesome. Okay, by the way, I'm done. So as he's already said, Sleek Stealthy 85, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram?
Yep.
Okay.
And
Facebooks. There you go. You got that. You got me, Fiend75002. That's Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, Friendster, YouTube, AIM, ICQ, Yahoo Messenger, Smoke Signals. And then also check out the Super Barley Brothers, where we talk about beer and video games. But, you know, one of us is very focused on beers, and there's 3 of us that do that. Hopefully the 4th guy will come back when things get to that point. But either way, we do appreciate you coming out and listening to us ramble on and on and on and on and on and on about bullshit. But we are the Late Night Enforcers. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for coming out. Have yourselves a wonderful time, and we'll see you October 24th for the live Batman Shindiggery.